Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
Welcome to Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, the Indie Report. I'm David Rhodes, and we got another brother from the HuPirateShip with us this week. Brandon King's on assignment. I want to go ahead and get the introduction going for Tariq. What's going on, Tariq? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, man?
Doing great. So you feel free to give an introduction, talk about yourself for a minute or two, and then I'll run through the intro.
Yep. So been with the HU. Actually, I founded the HuPirateShip probably back in 2013, I think. So just a message board for a few dedicated Pirates fans, and then it spun into a podcast that Jeff, who was on last week, have been doing for about maybe 10 years now, something like that. So we just talk about the Pirates. I graduated from Hampton a long time ago. Ain't even gonna date myself. But been a loyal Pirate ever since.
All right. Okay. Welcome to episode 545 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sports HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU's athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, David Rhodes, along with my co-host Tariq Wilson, and Brandon King's on assignment. And we're filming from our home studios and sending the signal live to our KCOH 1230 a.m. studio in Houston, Texas.
Wow, so we're on the radio.
Yeah, man. So there's your warning shot for the day.
Okay.
So Tariq, any news, any HBCU news of the day that you got for us?
You know what I found interesting was an article. It was on HBCU Sports and HBCU Game Day about the Elon North Carolina Central game this past weekend. I tried to get there, but I couldn't make it because I live in Durham. But if anyone's been to Central Stadium, like the fans are right on the sidelines. So not sure what, I mean, the story is that one of the Elon football players called a Central, she's a 18-year-old freshman. They called her an N-word bitch.
Oh, no.
Yeah, of course. Good. He's white. So, and then it kind of escalated from there. So he said some other things. So she's not like going quietly into the night about this. So she's making sure everybody knows, and is really trying to make sure that, Elon handles this situation. So that's been my story today.
That's kind of it's kind of like I heard about it, but I didn't like dive into the details regarding it. I do know, like, I've never been to Central Stadium, but I do because I try my, and I said their name. That's more than enough in itself. So I try my best. So I don't go there. I don't go there. Like I drove around it for my daughter because she wanted to check out the school a few months ago. But I heard how close the players are to the fans.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not like Aggie Stadium or Truist Stadium, what they call it now. It's not like that where you got the track. It's like you're right there, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say it's disappointing, because you want to try to stick to the game of sport, and Elon kind of took it to them boys that week on Saturday. So I know they fell in Dr. Cavil's ranking. They fell from number 1 to number 2. But the big story today for me was shout out to Ton Ross again, man. I talked about her last week. She won CAA Rookie of the Week for the second consecutive week in volleyball. The Lady Aggies right now, they're 4-1. 4-1. We're almost in conference play. So they're doing an outstanding job. And the thing about the Lady Aggies, that the volleyball team, is that I thought this year was going to be more of a rebuild. Like they were going to be rebuilding the roster. They lost about, I believe they lost 6 players to the transfer portal. So I was under the impression that, hey, this is going to probably be more of a rebuild. And it's looking like it's more of a reload. So we'll see how it goes in conference play. I mean, there are some tough teams within the CEA in volleyball. I mean, I think they had us projected to go be next to last in the conference. So I think we're going to definitely exceed that. So shout out to those ladies with regards to that.
Let me ask you a quick question. So what are y'all doing there? Because I know our volleyball team is like a complete rebuild, new coach, new everything. So we are 0-7 to this point, and I don't think we even want to set.
Oh no! Well, we like the first season in the CAA. We were overall we were pretty respectable. We didn't make the playoff. We didn't make the postseason for the CAA because all the teams in the CAA don't make it to the CAA tournament. Right. For those who don't know, I think it's only like 8 teams, if I recall correctly, that make it to the CAA tournament. And last year, it was a rough season. I mean, we won games, but the big thing is that goes to credit to Hal Clifton, the head volleyball coach. He can recruit. He can recruit. Because Tyne Ross is a true freshman, and she's out here doing what she's doing. Like she's been breaking some records, tying records, A&T records as a rookie, as a true freshman. So she's killing it right now. So we got a pretty good team. I was surprised. Like we swept Central. We swept the school down in Durham. That's twice. I got to do better with this. We swept them because we did the Aggie Eagle Challenge, where first game was in Greensboro, second game was in Durham, back-to-back days, and we pretty much swept them both sets. Wow, both games. So we went 3-0 both games. So, it was a fascinating. I'm looking forward to seeing how they do, and I always like to talk about the non-revenue sports because we only hear about them a lot of times when it's something negative. So it's very good to see and have that discussion point when we see our teams doing good things. Yep. But so we got 3 games to go over that happened last week in the independents. We got North Dakota State versus Tennessee State out in the Fargo Dome, and we got 2 rivalry games from us. We got A&T versus Winston-Salem State, and we got Hampton versus Virginia Union. So when we come back from the break, we're going to go over all 3 games, talk about them, give you your thoughts about them. So we'll be right back after this break from inside HBCU Sports Lab.
Choice Hotels is a family of brands that helps you get the most for your money so you can be any traveler you want to be.
You could be a free hot breakfast hero at a comfort hotel.
Yes!
That's how you waffle!
Mr. This Script got a plot twist at a Radisson hotel.
A business big leaguer.
Go for key.
Even the ultimate pool float inflator.
With 22 brands and the best value for your money, Choice Hotels has a stay for any you. Book direct at choicehotels.com, where travels come true.
Gotta get the corners.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gonna teach a lesson.
Welcome back to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. All right, so let's get into these games. We're gonna start with the rough first, only because we need to get through the rough, because it was Tennessee State went up to Fargo, North Dakota to play the number 2 team, FCS team in the country, the North Dakota State Bison. And unfortunately, they came back. They ended up not winning the game. They lost 52-3. A couple things that came out of that game. North Dakota State didn't have to punt until the third quarter. They did not. Tennessee State didn't score until one of their final drives. I mean, it was 52-0 before they got the one field goal that they had. As an alumnus who A&T played this team a few years back, and it was pretty dominant on that end too. But I recommended to some of the Tennessee State fans on Twitter to go watch the post-game presser from both sides to just get a perspective. Like when you go, one thing to go to a road game, and if I recall, Tennessee State agreed to a home and home with North Dakota State. So North Dakota State is going to come to Nashville, Tennessee in a couple of years as well. But it was a rough day for Draylon Ellis. It was a rough day for Draylon Ellis. He went 17 for 25, 128 yards. He was also the leading rusher with 27 yards rushing as well. I don't know if you watched any of the game at all, Reek, but what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I didn't watch any of it. I spared myself, but it looks like, just looking at the stats, I mean, it looks like the way North Dakota State will beat you down. So Tennessee State only had 200 yards of offense. We didn't play there, but we have been to like Northern. There's like another division of FCS Dome in the over in that area too, and it's the same type of environment. I don't think we're really ready for everything that comes with playing, those sort of games. So I'm not shocked by the score at all or the way the game unfolded. What was good, I guess, Tennessee State only had 3 penalties, so 3 penalties for first down, but they did have 7 penalties. It just, they got beat up, man. It's not a match. Just almost like an FBS team, at least in the trenches for North Dakota State. So many of us can't hold up, man.
Yeah. So somebody asked a good question about the thought on check game. So for me, when you talk about like when we played the FBS programs, it's kind of crazy to think like North Dakota State paid A&T when we went up to Fargo. I think they paid us, I believe it was like a little around $325,000, if I recall. So I understand the reasoning to do it from a budgetary standpoint. A lot of schools do it so they can make their budget. I think we should be getting more, but I think the biggest challenge is figuring out, it's about the strong brand that you have as an institution and demanding more. And obviously you're going to have the band involved to potentially get extra money, but make sure you don't devalue the band either. But you want to try to bring as much funds home if possible. In a perfect world, it'd be great to replace those money gains with classics or rivalry games, but most of our institutions tend to only have 2 or 3 rivals.
Yeah.
So it makes it difficult from that standpoint. So I understand why we have to do them. I do wish we would have gotten paid more. A&T only got $300,000 to go play Wake Forest the other week. Like I felt like we should have gotten more. I know it's right down the street, but I feel like we should have gotten more. We brought the band. Like I thought we should have got more. And I'm always going to feel that way, especially when you're playing Power 4 conference teams. Like I think you should get more from that standpoint. What are your thoughts, Rick?
Well, Hampton hasn't played those games in football like ever, but that's changing. So I think next year or year after next, they're playing at Maryland, University of Maryland. So for the first time, Hampton's going to play in those games. And then from talking to coaches in the past, they've always wanted to play those games, always, because they know what it can do for the budgets. But from what I was told, it was Harvey at that level. He didn't want to tarnish or diminish the brand. So that kind of loss, then we didn't want that to be on the record. So I think it's to close the budget gas. I hate the games. I hate them. We hardly ever win. I think the injury thing is happening a little bit less. I think our guys, from what I could tell, are in a little better shape. They got better conditioning, all that stuff. So I'm not sure how much that happens as much, but I understand the games. I'm not a fan of them. I don't watch them. I really don't.
I will say this about the games. if you have somebody on your roster that has NFL aspirations, those games are important, man.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying you can't still make it to the league without them, but I think those games are important. Like somebody like a Kobe Durant, where scouts have said the game he had against Clemson was a big factor in them looking into him. South Carolina State, right?
Yeah.
You know, when A&T was out here beating the FBS programs, those games were a factor in getting your Tariq Cohen's, your Brandon Parker's drafted.
Yep.
So I think those things matter. Like from that aspect, it's a different type of money game then for some of those players. But I watch them. They're tough to watch. I will say that because a lot of times it boils down to the trench play anyway.
Yep.
You know, and that was the thing when A&T played North Dakota State. That was the thing that was complimented the most. Even though we got beat, it was like 41-3 or 42-3 or something like that. That was the biggest compliment was the trench play. And our running back at the time ran for over 100 yards on him. So there was so they gave A&T a lot of props during the pressure about how good their offensive line play was, which is important. Like I think we always want to talk about the skill players, but games are won or lost in the trenches.
Yeah, that's the difference. That's kind of like, you know, with North Dakota State, for whatever reason, there's a surplus of big, you know, white dudes in the Midwest. They all can't go to the P4 conferences, so they, you know, can stick around the FCS, and that gives them an edge.
Yeah, they're an FBS program in FCS clothing, man.
Yeah,
I stand by that. And then, but the thing is, half of that conference is when you sit down and think about it.
That's what I'm about to say. That's
half of the valley, man, is like that. It's always going to be a tough road ahead. So it sounds like you didn't go to the game between Virginia Union and Hampton, but you watched it. How you feeling, man? Came out with the win. The win's a win, man. All wins are good wins. And you're going to hear me say that a lot.
A win is a win. So from that perspective, I don't want to poo-poo it or crap on it. So I think that's always good. It's better than to lose. It's just the program is still, I mean, you forget, right? We have an interim coach, new position coaches, coordinators come and gone, a whole bunch of new players. So things are still trying to gel. They're still trying to figure out who's starting, who's available, who's playing. And at times it looked like it against Union. So I'm glad they won. But from someone who really wants to see the team look well and play well, I wasn't encouraged from that perspective. It seemed like Virginia Union, like they kind of took control of the game until their quarterback got hurt. And then once their quarterback got hurt, then Hampton took over the game and wore them down. But they seemed to, Virginia Union was getting hurt, cramp it up. So Hampton's like depth and, you know, size begin to wear on them. But it wasn't a good game. I mean, we won, but you know, there's ways you want to win those kind of games. But you know, also I was seeing that you know, Vegas has point spreads on some of our games now, and then Hampton was like the underdog.
1 point. Yeah. It wasn't Vegas, it was FCS Sportsbook, but 1 point.
Okay. Yeah, man.
1
so
point.
You do better. So 1 point underdog at home. I should put some money on that. I thought I almost did. But yeah, so you know, we got we got to make some believers out of folks, and I don't know if that game helped. But I'm glad they won.
Yeah, so Hampton beat Virginia Union 33-21. Thoughts on the quarterback situation? You think Zealous is your guy, man?
I'm gonna go now. I'm obviously I'm biased, so no, Zealous is not my guy, not full time. I think, you know, everyone's going with this 2 quarterback thing. Mays, for my money, is starting, and then Zealous comes in, gives you 5 to 10 snaps, basically out of that sort of wildcat formation. But the passing game is just totally different when he's in there. And you know, last year with the offensive line, the way it was dominant, you could overcome that. But this year, the line hasn't been as dominant, so defenses are just stacking the box when he's in there, playing a run, and then daring him to throw it. And the passing game isn't looking well. Like even when he completes, like guys have to dive or get down. It's not like in stride.
I watched the game. I checked out the game when I got back from North Carolina, and that was one of the things I noticed. But you got a running back, so that's a good thing, right?
We got that boy. He's a pro. He looks like a pro when he's running. So I would think that you will put Mays in there to open up things, right? You got to respect the passing game when he's in there. 2 years ago he looked shaky. So, but that was 2 years ago. Like against Morgan State, he was on fire. I was at that game. Even the people that didn't know the two quarterbacks, they was like, wait, why isn't he starting? Why didn't he play? I said, I don't know. It's above my pay grade. But I'm rolling with Mays. But it seems like the coaches are committed to Zealous. So, no control over that. I'm still trying to figure out why, but I do not understand why. I asked my people close who also follow Pirate Sports. No one understands why. I have some theories, but
yeah, man. When I saw him last week against Morgan, I felt like Mays was your guy. I thought Mays won the job. So I was kind of shocked when watching this game between Hampton and Virginia Union that Zealous was there for the majority of the time. Zealous, I mean, Mays was only in there for seven passes. So I was very shocked. But I know he's an effective runner, and that's good in the day, but you already got a running back. So I don't get paid the big bucks for that. I don't get to make those calls. So we got to roll what Trent, your coach, is saying.
Yeah. I don't fully understand. Other thing is, if you watch that game, like besides our running back, at this point in time, like we don't have a lot of people that just scare you, like on either side of the ball at this point. Like last year we had name just gave me the linebacker number 4. He was a bully. Like, you could watch him and see, anywhere around him there's going to be some action. 2 years ago, we had the linebacker. I mean, the defensive lineman who, went to the CFL. He was dominant. Like on especially defense, no one's really emerged as like a force. So, it's just a new team, man, trying to put a whole lot of things together, and it's just a little painful to watch. But at least they're 1-1. I put it like that.
Yeah, they're 1-1, man. Same record as A&T. Good segue.
Man. I got a lot of thoughts on A&T, man. I got more A&T than my team.
I went to the game. I flew down. This was my first A&T versus Winston game because when I was a student at A&T, they didn't play. They weren't playing. They weren't playing each other at the time. So this is my first rivalry game. Crowd was electric. Phenomenal crowd. Both bands were there. It was a great environment to watch. Great environment to be in. It was our debut on My 48. We got our local TV contract going on, so it was great. So for a casual fan, it probably was an outstanding game to watch. The Aggies pulled it out 27-20 in overtime. There were a lot of both teams left some points on the board. I have my opinion about Kevin White. I think he is our starter. I think he's good enough I think we need to watch him grow as a sophomore. But at the same time, man, when the first drive, when he threw that pick, I think it took him a while to get past that. But we did rush for over 200 yards in the game. Wesley Graves ran for over 100 yards. Kenji Christian was the first CAA running back to get over 200 yards rushing so far this year. So overall, we got a running game. I was kind of disappointed at how our offensive line played when it came to pass pro and things of that sort. I was kind of concerned about the defensive line as well because I felt like Winston-Salem State at times was just able to do what they want, particularly at the beginning of the game. I think over time it got a little bit better from that standpoint. But these guys were 26.5 point underdogs to us.
Woo.
So for me, and I said I was on this show last week and I said, if this game is close, I'm concerned, and I am concerned. And part of the reason why I am concerned is because we have a team that will probably be in the top 25 if they weren't converting to FBS next year, if they weren't transitioning to FBS. And we'll talk about that after the break. But I just feel like we should have been better than what we were. We won. That's like you, man. All wins are good wins. But it shouldn't have come down to the fact that we were down 3 points with 3 minutes remaining in the game. Like it shouldn't have come down to that.
Agree.
It shouldn't have come down to that. And I know somebody in the chat said Favs 2.0. Favs lost 27 straight games for us, man. I don't think it's 2.0. They were losing to everybody back then.
That's Jeff.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready to go there yet. So it'll be.
I had a thought on Winston-Salem. So I have a neighbor who is as close to that program as you can humanly get. And, he told me before the season, he tells me, the truth. We talk, truth about our programs. And before the season started, he said, I think we're going to be good.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be good. And I think we're going to be better than people think. And we got this quarterback that somehow we got him, and we're lucky to have him. He's going to be a game changer for us. So, yeah, I wasn't shocked that this game was close. I wasn't. Because I honestly, I'm not a believer in A&T football right now, man.
Nobody is, man. You're not alone there. Let me be clear. You're not alone, okay? You're not alone.
I'm not. It is a lot of things that people say around the state and stuff. So there's a lot that you guys got to do to get on the right track. And it's not even like smack. It's just guys are ways away, man.
I think considering what I sat through last year with A&T's offense, it's a vast improvement.
Yeah, that's true.
and for me, like when you watch the games and you sit through what I sat through last year from the offensive standpoint, this is night and day. Even with what happened on Saturday, night and day. Yeah. Night and day, bro. Night and day.
Bless your heart, man. You watched all those games. That was
I went to a few of them.
They set football back, man.
I went to Rhode Island. They threw for over 100 yards in that one. I mean, actually, all the games are other than 2. I went to 4 games last season. 2 out of the 4 games, they didn't throw for 100 yards.
Yikes.
Yeah. They can run the ball. There's no question about that. So I think our offense is improved. I'm a little bit concerned about the interior defensive line.
Are they just too small? Because I know last year that was a problem.
That was a problem, and it's funny. We upped the average weight, so we're up there with the rest of the conference. But it's just more of a matter of making sure everybody's in the right places.
Yeah.
Like I feel like A&T walked into this game not taking the opponent seriously, and I think initially they got smacked in the mouth, and I think they started realizing it after our Karan Prunty went out. I think the realization started kicking in, and then when they lost the lead, I think it really kicked in because it was a realization that you could not afford to lose that game, and they had a chance to end the game in regulation, but I felt like they kind of took their time going down the field, but it ended up working out, and they got the win in overtime.
See, that's good for y'all. Like I don't think Hampton took Virginia Union lightly. I think they knew they had to fight.
Like the way, and I think folks might disagree with me about it, but the way that we came out there, it was clear. Like when we got the pick at the beginning of the game, we had a 4th and goal at the 1 that we went for with our big body back, and he got stood up at the 1. Like that was the moment when I knew, all right, we could legitimately lose this game.
Wow.
Yeah, they were hyped. Winston won it, and shout out to them because they played a heck of a game. Shout out to them. But on that note, let's take our next commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a rivalry game. So we'll be right back right after the break.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
The Quicker Picker-Upper. Bounty picks up message quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the Quicker Picker-Upper.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. So now we got a rivalry game coming down the pike, man. This is in your wheelhouse. Hampton versus Norfolk State, and they got you guys last year, so I know you guys won it back this year. So let's talk about this game a bit, man. Like, I believe right now you guys are 2.5-point favorites to win this one.
Okay. So Jeff and I, we both did a podcast this week. I think released it yesterday, and we both think that Norfolk State has the edge on this one. I think both teams are equal from what we've seen so far. So FAMU pulled out a close one against Norfolk State week 1 or week 0. Norfolk State, I think they played East. That's a loss, scheduled loss. And then Norfolk State, beat Virginia State, and it was a competitive game, but then, they ran the clock down at the end and won. For us, we lost a close one to Morgan State. And then we had to, work harder than we thought to beat Virginia Union. So the performances by both teams have been equal. Recently, Norfolk State has had our number, or at least been competitive, or games have been close, or they've won. So, given that the quarterback situation is a little shaky, both teams are looking equal, and Norfolk State is at home. I got Norfolk State winning this one, and it don't even cause me any pain to say that anymore. I'm numb. So a couple years ago, I would have thrown up in my mouth, but now I just
that rough, huh?
Adjusting my expectations, man. But I don't know. I don't know. There's nothing. I'm not sure what gives us the edge over Norfolk State at this point in time. And we did have all those players who were ineligible. A lot of those guys have moved on. So I'm concerned, but not like heartbroken. But I am concerned.
Well, like when we did the picks for HBCU Nightly, only the Howard Rad picked Norfolk State, and I know she probably was conflicted a little bit. Shout out to Erica. One thing I'll say, I think I'm trying to find out how much passing is going to be in this game, because neither one of you guys can stop the run. Like Norfolk's not good at stopping the run. You guys aren't good at stopping the run. So that's where I'm wondering how much passing we're really going to have in this game. Like, I think maybe the first team to get a passing touchdown wins this game, right? I got y'all winning. I think you guys are going to be able to pull it out. It's going to be a close game, and it should be a good game. Y'all almost won last year with 20 missing players.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, Norfolk's got a lot of their same talent from last year. They brought back a lot of starters from last year. I think you guys should be able to pull this out.
Yeah. Thankfully for us, they are missing their quarterback, so that helps us maybe to an extent. But I don't know. They haven't shown an ability to dominate at this point in time. So that's what they're going to need to do. I'd like to see that. If they do, I'll start feeling a little better about the team's prospects. But I think, it's going to be a close game. I'll put it that way. I would be surprised if either team blew the other team out.
Are you going to try to go to the game?
No, not this week. No, I'm saving my mileage. Probably I might go to the Howard game, but I'm going to stay here. You know what I like to do? I like to do, if I don't have anything going on, I'm not coaching, I'm going to go to watch Shaw play. I think they're playing like Catawba. So I guess I could get there in like 10 minutes. I'll watch that game, and then I'll watch the Hampton game on my phone and text Jeff at the same time. That's what I'll do. Now, if I hadn't gone to the Morgan State game, I'd probably go. But I'm choose self-care on this one.
Self-care. Oh my goodness. All right. So do you defensively, do you think they're going to potentially make some adjustments to try to reduce their run game at all? Because that's what Dawson Owens is going to want to do, is run the ball.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, so against we have all new linebackers this year, starting linebackers. So the guys who were penciled in as the starters for this year, 2 transfers. I think Xavier Marshall from Richmond. Now, he was like a defensive back safety. He's been converted to linebacker. He didn't play against Virginia Union. Another guy from Temple, he played okay against Morgan, and he didn't play last week either. So the guys that we knew were coming back who just needed some snaps, they played relatively well. I think with the guys coming back who are supposed to be the starter, they can play well. And the problem with against Union and Morgan State is like they were just busts. So you see the number of yards is like, okay, man, they're just getting gashed. It just like it hold him for 2 yards, hold him for 1, and then one guy's out his gap, and then it's over. So if they can shore up that stuff, then they can stop the run. I don't know yet. Our safeties are playing well though. They are really getting into the run game. That is something that Norfolk State could exploit because our safeties are the playmakers right now on defense. They have to get their nose down there to stop things. But I think if they can hold their gaps, man, on the line, then they can do something. But we haven't seen it yet. Like for the whole game, not just 2 out of 3 plays, but every play is like I'm getting to my spot, and hopefully they can do that.
All right. We got
did I give you any encouragement there?
Yeah, look, man, I'm still picking y'all, man. I think y'all gonna win. I think y'all gonna beat them, man. I really do. I think something's gonna have to give. One of you guys is not gonna be able to get the yards that they want off the ground, and somebody's gonna have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And somebody mentioned about Norfolk's quarterback. I like Norfolk's quarterback. I like the new guy. I like Daniels. I think he's legit.
Yeah, he's good.
I think he's legit. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen when Coons is eligible again, and whether or not and what they decide. I think Norfolk State's going to have to probably string another win, to not go back to Coons, in my opinion. Quickly, man, we got the Southern Heritage Classic coming up, so we got Tennessee State going up against Arkansas Pine Bluff. I'll be honest. I mean, after what happened UAPB, pretty much beat up Arkansas Baptist, right? I think they won by over 70, if I recall, like 70-0, 73-0, something to that effect.
Yeah.
And we talked about Tennessee State and what happened to them last week, but I think Tennessee State should dominate this game against Arkansas Pine Bluff. I think they're going to lick their wounds from what happened last week in Fargo, and I think they're going to go into Memphis and put in the work that's necessary to get this win. And then people are going to talk about whether or not Jackson State should be back in the game and all that, but we'll see. Maybe someday, right?
Now check this out. This is like you don't see this stuff too often. So UAPB lost to Arkansas week 1, 70-0, and then they beat Arkansas Baptist 73-0. So I don't know what it says about the team, but I guess it's their first FCS opponent they'll play this year. But yeah, I got Tennessee State.
Yeah, I got Tennessee State as well. So when we come back from the break, we're going to go over A&T versus Delaware. I don't know how much I'm looking forward to this, but when we return from inside the HBCU Sports Lab, we're going to go over this game and close out the show. We'll be back.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Hey, grab me one too.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember. They can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody.
Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavil's Inside.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want to lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, because he gon' teach a lesson.
Welcome back to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Now, I do agree with AJ. We're going to get into this game between North Carolina A&T and the Delaware Fighting Blue Hens. Couple facts about Delaware right now. For one, the transition into FBS, so they're not eligible to win the conference. I don't even think they're eligible to. I believe they're not even eligible to be ranked in the top 25. They would be a top 25 FCS team easily if they were. So we got that game coming up in Greensboro, North Carolina this weekend. And we played those guys pretty tough last year. If we had any ounce of an offense, we had a legitimate shot to win. We lost to them last year, 21-6. And it was their homecoming last year. So this year is not anybody's homecoming. It's the conference opener for us. This is their second game. They beat Bryant 48-17. Same quarterback last year, Ryan O'Connor, who's legit. He threw 4 touchdown passes against Bryant. I'm hearing that the weather's not going to be that good in Greensboro, which might be good for us. We're going to definitely want to run the ball. So the right now A&T are 21-point underdogs based on FCS Sportsbook against Delaware. I think we'll be able to cover it. I understand why the number's so high because of how we played last week. But my hope is that we're going to show up for this game and we're going to play. We're going to try to play this game. I don't think we're going to come out flat like we did against Winston-Salem State last weekend. So, but I know Delaware is a tough task to follow. Historically, teams that go through the FBS transition tend to not be as good that year before they go FBS, but I know I'm asking for a lot this weekend. Rick ain't got nothing to say.
Now, you know what? I was looking at the schedule, so I didn't know the game is at 1. If the weather's decent, I might go. I can get there in about 45 minutes from the crib, so I might go.
Yeah. I'll be watching I live in Rhode Island, man, so I'll be watching from the crib.
You ain't gonna fly down for this one?
Oh, nah, I ain't flying down for this one. Nah, but the thing, I flew down for Elon last year, so it depends. It's just the schedule's got to work right, so, but nah, I can't fly down for this one.
Here's what concerns me for A&T for this game. So Delaware played Bryant, like you said, 2 weeks ago, and they blew them out. So they've had 2 weeks to correct whatever ailed them, to get healthy, whoever was unhealthy, and then to scout you guys. So that's a lot of time to get ready when you're already expected to win. But if A&T come out with some fight and some wrinkles, they could do it. But it's just a bad matchup, man. It's just sometimes you either got the dogs or you don't.
No, I know, man. It's kind of wild, right? So when you look at the schedule, because when it was announced that Delaware was leaving to head to Conference USA, the first thing I hoped was that they weren't on the schedule. Mm-hmm. Like that was the first thing I hoped.
Yeah, I hope that every year when I with Hampton.
Y'all, they would have always been on the schedule for y'all, but like for us, because they're part of y'all bubble, isn't y'all? Aren't they part of the?
Yeah, the I think we play them every year.
Yeah. So like for those who don't know, in the CAA, they play a pod format. So there's 3 teams in each pod, And so for A&T, it's Elon and Campbell. And for Hampton, I believe it's William and Mary and Delaware. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
I'd be surprised if Richmond wasn't in that pod.
Oh, yeah, you might be right. It's Richmond and William and Mary for y'all.
Okay.
And then there's some teams that you always play every year.
Yep.
So you dodged the Delaware bullet. Lucky you.
I think.
Yeah, you think. You don't have to play him. Well, it won't matter now.
We don't have them this year. Yeah, we don't have them.
Yeah, after this year, you wouldn't have them anymore anyway.
Yeah, we're done with them.
Yeah.
Wow.
So do you see any, other than fighting the good fight, do you see any scenario where A&T could actually pull this out?
None. Zero.
Wow, man. No faith.
None. None.
Jeez, man. You got to give us something.
Hey, wait. How is Prunty?
Prunty should be playing this weekend.
Wow. I mean, they had him like on the field like he lost a limb. That's good news.
Yeah, Prunty should be playing this weekend. There was a situation with his neck. So it was more for precautionary to make sure.
Okay.
But he's the way that Coach Brown was saying in his press conference on Monday is that he should be ready to play this Saturday, which is good. Like if he wasn't here, I think my hope would diminish even more than it already is.
Okay.
Yeah. So if he plays, I think, because he shuts down a side of the field.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's true. Well, let me ask you a question. You know A&T better than me. Like how do they win this game? What, like, schematic, like who wins this game for them and how? Like what happened?
I think that the big thing for me for us to win this game is that we got to control the clock and we have to have a more balanced offense. And compared to because last year we only threw the ball for 31 yards, man, against these guys.
Oh man.
So we lost by 15. We only threw the ball 31 yards, right? So we got to be able to sustain drives and eat up the clock. I'm not worried about the run game. I'm fascinated to see how we do with the passing game. KJ White is still growing as a quarterback. He's going to learn things. He's going to get better as the season progresses, I believe. I truly believe that. So, but we can't afford to turn the ball over. We turned the ball over, I think, 3 times last year, if I recall. Let me double check that. I believe 1, 2, 3 times. So we had 3 turnovers in the game against Delaware last year. Can't have that. Can't turn the ball over, and we got to run. We got to have a strong run, just like ODB says, strong, balanced offense, man, and be able to convert in third down. And defensively, we have to be able to play better up front, get to quarterback, because O'Connor's legit, man. O'Connor's good. He's legit. So we gotta try to have some level of confusion. We need to try to get to the quarterback if possible.
Yeah, I mean, I just like that guy and the way Delaware plays because, you'll stop them, right? You'll put them in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. You're going to complete it. Like, he's going to find a guy or run or something, man. The guy's just efficient. So that's tough. I mean, I hope A&T, especially if I go, I'd love to see A&T pull it out, but,
I just don't want it to go like it. I just want to see progress, right? Like I thought we showed up against Wake Forest. I felt like I felt like initially we didn't come to play against Winston. I just need us to show up against Delaware. I think if we show up against Delaware, I think we got a shot to keep this game interesting.
Let me ask you a question. So, the Hampton fan base is interesting, especially people who really watch football. I think I don't think we're I think we've been mediocre for a while now, so it's kind of like set in, to the fan base. Everybody wants us to do better, but if we don't, it's like, oh shucks, I'm gonna go do something else. Like A&T fans, like y'all run hot, man. Like, how much rope does this team and the coach have? Like, if they lay an egg against Delaware, what does that look like at home?
The Winston game was the first home game of Coach Brown's career. That was his first home win.
Oh wow, that
was his first home win. He didn't win a game at home last year. Right, we didn't win a conference game last year, and he didn't win a home game last year. So that's why it was a big deal that he needed to win last weekend.
Damn.
Right? You're talking about new chancellor, home opener, whole 9. Right? It was imperative that he win that game last weekend, and he did. Okay. So now as for this weekend, I just need to see vast improvement. Like I think the team, the portion of the fan base understands, like the folks that are hardcore, they understand the challenges that he walked into when he took that position. And some of the things that he had to do. Like the program is much different now than what it was when prior to that. So there's going to be some growth spurts. I don't think we can stomach another one win season, but we just need to see vast improvement. But, you know, we'll see, man. I got to close out the show because otherwise the producer's going to come after me.
Yep. Another light.
There's another light. But to close, one more thing to keep it honest about Coach Brown, he's got another year. Like I like he, you know, he's signed a 6-year contract. I believe he's gonna get another year.
Oh, 6 years? Oh, he's good, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
He ain't buying that out. He ain't buying that out.
Nah, there's things that there's more than it's more than just winning football games with what's going on with the program. That's why they signed to a 6-year deal. So thank you for listening to Inside HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am David Rhodes, and this is Tariq Wilson. And shout out to Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, for coming from the Inside the Lab. We look forward to next week as we'll discuss the latest news in the lab. I want you guys to make sure you follow Dr. Kenyatta Cavil on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Make sure you follow Inside HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook. And make sure you also follow Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big and continue forward and continue to move forward. And we will talk to you soon. Tariq?
Of course.
Roy?
Lecture.
Dismiss.